man, got tired and we stopped at a rest stop. I don't know where we were at. And he probably think, man, I don't know how you gonna get up there and play.
Today on the show, we have former college and pro hooper and a new assistant coach for the University of Memphis women's basketball. Josh Cooperwood is up next. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today's episode is the 6th in our special limited series featuring the staff of the University of Memphis women's basketball program. He's a Tennessee native with Memphis ties, a former college hooper with Tennessee State University, former pro basketball player, and a coach with consistent success. He's a new assistant coach for the University of Memphis women's basketball program. Welcome to the show, Josh Cooperwood.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, welcome to the show, Josh. Before we get started, I want to give a special shout out to this person. This would not be possible without this person. This person works so hard behind the scenes and does so many things that I don't have to do. I just want to give a shout out to my co-host, Sandy, right here. She's a great partner. She picks me up where I'm lacking and I vice versa. So we make a great team. She always says every show, we're still working on the way we do things, but I think we have a great chemistry. I think like she's strong where I'm not, and I'm strong where she's not. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to you, Sandy.
Oh, you were so sweet. Go team. That's what I always say.
Exactly.
Now, before we get into our conversation with Josh, we want to remind everyone that the Memphis women's basketball tickets are on sale still at GoTigersGo.com. The season kicks off with the first home game November 9th versus Alabama State at the Elma Rome Fieldhouse on the main campus of the University of Memphis. Season tickets start as low as $31 plus some change. I hope to see everyone there because I will be there November 9th. So let's get started. Mike, you want to kick it off?
Josh, man, I know, you most of your life, you grew up in Nashville, but we know where you really from, man. We know you from the main streets of Memphis, man. So what's how was it when you had to leave, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself, man, how you came up and what's going on and things like that. Just kind of.
Do you remember Memphis?
Yeah.
You said you left when you were young.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born here, moved at an early age to Nashville with my mom and dad on divorce, but spent, summers here, holidays with my dad's side of the family. So always, obviously when it comes to sports, kind of claim Nashville because that's where I played, middle school, high school, and then college, but always, claim Memphis as well. Like, that's where I was born at. That's where I'm from, got ties to both. So, as long as it's in the state of Tennessee, I kind of rep Tennessee.
I hear you. You know a couple. You know my teammate. Do you know my Mingo?
I know Mingo Will. I know David Vaughn. I know all of those guys, man. So talk to Mingo all the time, and I actually talked to Dave probably 3 or 4 days ago.
I talked to Dave. I talked to Dave.
He said Mike's mad at me because I won't come on the show.
No, I'm not mad at him, man. No,
we're not mad at him at all. So I want to ask from a cultural standpoint, you were born in Memphis and I'm guessing you spent some time here since your dad still lived here. And Memphis and Nashville are quite different in culture, I would think. So what do you think you got positively out of the difference in the culture? Like, how did that all affect you?
I guess, playing basketball, playing sports. I remember I actually got an article on my wall here when I was in high school, led the state in scoring, and it just talked about how I was born in Memphis. So I was always a tough player.
Right.
It said something like, in Memphis basketball is king. So I guess like my tough side, I get that from my dad's side of the family.
Don't say your Memphis side. Go and say it.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that's just what it is. So I get, my toughness and my, it's just like she says, difference in Nashville, Memphis. Memphis is more, laid back and
gritty,
nice. Yeah, whereas Memphis, you got to be tough and you got to fight for things. So I kind of like that Memphis side a little more than I like my Nashville side, but both of them make a good balance.
They do. And I just want to give a shout out. Your dad was a Memphis fireman. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. 32 years.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. You know, the firemen, man, they can retire when they still relatively young, man, especially when they get in there early, man. I have
Man,
a
that dude,
brother-in-law. He's a few years older than me. He's been retired for years. He's in his 50s. I think he's like 54, and he's been retired several years and lives in Florida now.
yeah, I mean, he got on right out of college.
Oh yeah,
He went to Hamilton High School.
I
Went
won't
to
hold that
Mrs.
against him. I won't
Hamilton.
hold that.
went
Shout
to
out.
Memphis for a year, and then finished up at Lane, and uh, got right on the fire department as soon as he graduated from Lane College.
That's
And
beautiful.
was
And he passed away recently.
yeah during COVID. Yeah, he had some health complications, so he passed away during that time.
Well,
Man,
shout
our
out.
thoughts are out to your family, man.
That's-
I want to talk about this. We've interviewed several athletes, you know, and they've always stated like a lot of times basketball wasn't their first love, man. Was it always your first love? Did you fall in love with it? When did you fall in love with it?
Man, I actually say baseball. I played
Hey,
all.
That's a popular answer. It is.
Yeah, I played all sports growing up: football, basketball, baseball. I kind of stayed, active year round. But baseball was probably my better sport as a youth. I would probably say basketball, I was just okay. I didn't really get good in basketball uh, to maybe my 7th grade year once I got into middle school. But like playing junior pro and little league basketball, I mean, I was on the team and played, but I was never like that guy. You know what I'm saying? But baseball, I played shortstop and played third base. So just depending on who was pitching. If the famous rapper Young Buck, me and him were in the infield together. So if he was pitching, I would play third. If he wasn't pitching, I'd play short. So baseball was a really, really good sport of mine. We were really good at baseball.
So when did it outweigh? When did like you say you were good, and when did basketball like, wait a minute, I'm like that?
Probably I would say middle school. Once I started playing school ball, I kind of got really good, and then maybe my freshman year in high school, I went to Hillwood High School in Nashville. When I was a freshman, a guy named Charles Hathaway played at Tennessee. He was a McDonald's All-American, and I made varsity as a freshman.
Wow.
So I was like, during that era, Ron Slade, we played AAU together. He was at Pearl-Cohn. Wasn't too many freshmen, in the city of Nashville playing varsity. So for me playing varsity as a 9th grader, Charles is a McDonald's All-American. So we have college coaches in the gym every single day. Back then you could go straight to the NBA out of high school. So we had pro scouts. We went and played the same class as Tim Thomas. So we played we played Patterson in a Thanksgiving tournament in North Carolina, and I'm a freshman. Wasn't getting that many minutes as a freshman, but I was out there with some, top guys in the country, and I was like, wait a minute, this baseball thing might need to take the back burner for a minute.
How tall were you when you were a freshman in high school?
Freshman, I was maybe 5'11", 6 foot.
How tall are you now?
Now I'm 6'4".
Okay.
And so from freshman, I always played the guard spot, and it's a point guard spot. So from freshman to sophomore, when I came back a 10th grader, I was the same height as I am now. Like I grew that summer. And so, 6'3", 6'4" guard, with pretty good skills at the time that started to draw interest, from colleges and things like that.
Wow, man. I remember when I fell in love with basketball. Was baseball still calling you, or you had totally abandoned it?
I totally abandoned it. Like I played freshman baseball at high school. It wasn't really freshman, it was just varsity. I played it, but yeah, I just had no interest, halfway through the season. It was time for AAU season, and Coach Maurice Fitzgerald, who's a high school legend in Nashville for football, he was my AAU coach. And one weekend we were going to Kingsport, Tennessee, and we had like a baseball game on Friday. And he told my mom, like, I'm going to pick him up and we leaving at such and such time. And I didn't even think about it. Like from that point on, I was like, screw baseball.
So it must have been pretty exciting to have to have all these pro scouts coming around and college coaches coming around and seeing all that was and I read something because I was doing my research last night. I read something about your highest scoring game was against Overton High School when you were a senior.
Yeah, that's actually where Mike's former teammate Mingo Johnson played at Overton. I think I had 45, 40. I can't remember what I had that night.
Can't remember how many. It's been
But
over.
it's crazy because Hathaway, he scored 50 on Overton my freshman year, his senior year. And so I'm actually the all-time leading scorer at my high school. I broke Hathaway's record on that, but I was trying to get 50. And I don't know if coach took me out or something, but I think, yeah, it was like 47.
And you and Mingo are still friends then.
Yeah. And obviously Mingo wasn't there at the time. He's a couple years older than me, but it was against Overton, and I kind of remember it. It was a good night.
Yeah.
I could see it now, man. How did you hold that Memphis? You know, the article you said you had written up. I want to go back to that, man. Did you wear that with a badge of honor?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
I can feel it. Yeah.
Like going through the recruiting process. I think when I was coming out, Tick Price was a head coach at Memphis.
Yeah.
During the time, and just nothing against the Vols, Tennessee. Like I'm just a Tennessee guy. If I'd have had it my way, I would have. I am a Tiger because I played at Tennessee State and we're the Tiger. But just growing up, like my whole dad's side of the family, my aunts, everybody are Memphis Tigers. So if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have chose the Tiger. I guess that's why now, being able to coach here, I kind of wear it with pride. It kind of means something to me.
So I do want to ask about that. So what was that recruiting process like when you were in high school?
It was pretty good. I guess the first letter I got was from Kevin O'Neill, head coach at Tennessee at the time, because he spent a lot of time in our gym on recruiting Hathaway. And just like AAU, I played for the Music City Players, which was probably the only team in Nashville. Trent Hassel played for that team, Marcus Maven, James Stewart. I mean, the list just goes on. And so Coach Fitzgerald did a really good job of allowing us to play on the national stage. So after Tennessee, it was Virginia Tech recruited me kind of hard. And then Coach Brady at LSU, one of his top assistants, Coach Butch Pierre, was in our gym all the time. And so it was a pretty good process, but Tennessee State was kind of like there from day one and kind of always recruited me. So this kind of thing, I had to go to junior college for a year. Back then you could prop 48 and do those kind of things. So I didn't want to sit out, so I chose the junior college route. And coming out of junior college, I was like, man, I could go to Tennessee State and play right away and, not have to fight for time. That was kind of, important for me. I really want to be on the court and compete. And so I just, looking at their roster breakdown and being able to go in, I was very familiar with the program and I knew I could go in right away and do what I needed to do.
Who helped you with your recruiting process, man? Because I was on my own pretty much as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, being a coach now and seeing how all these kids, guys and girls have handlers and things like that. I guess obviously back then there was no social media, no cell phones. Like when coaches could call, I mean, they had to call my house phone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was just kind of like me and my mom, my dad kind of gave input when he could. My grandfather at the time, just kind of listen to the coaches, see what they had to say. But I was kind of like really on my own, my high school coach, Coach Mike Davis, and then Coach Fitzgerald, Coach Maurice Fitzgerald. They all kind of, just made sure that, I knew the things that I had to do. And it was, back then, it was more so go where you could play right away, that fit. So those people kind of helped me, but I didn't have a handler or anything like that.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Well, I was going to say, no, I think your question is going to be more relevant at the
No,
moment.
no, I was like, do you take those experience and use it, you know, and when you're thinking about coaching or recruiting, how does that come into play for you?
Yeah, I kind of sell fit more than the university. Sometimes, now uh the word Power 5 get thrown out a lot. And so when I'm recruiting, I try to tell kids, go where you can play, go where you fit with that head coach. Just being an assistant coach is cool, but just going through the fire. I mean, you know well as I know, Mike, the assistant coaches are kind of going to be that sponge, or that
Yeah,
the middleman between yourself and the head coach. But I try to urge kids, you and that head coach got to be on the same page, because that assistant coach can work you out, can develop you, but they don't hand out playing time.
it's up to the head coach. It's up to the head coach. How was your time at TSU?
Oh man, I loved it. From the day I got there to the day I left. Great atmosphere. I'm from North Nashville. That's where I grew up. Basically 5-10 minutes from campus, so just very familiar. Everybody on campus knew me. I did what I had to do. I loved it there.
I wanted to ask about going from high school into college. Did you have any thoughts in your head about what a game plan was? Like, what are you going to do with college? What are you going to do after college? As a high school senior going through that recruiting process, did you have any thoughts about the future at that time?
Yeah, I kind of did. I guess I was lucky. Corey Allen, probably the same age as Mike, him and David Vaughn, all of those guys, Ron Mercer, just from a
The
young
really young
age.
guys, the young guys.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, from my time, I was a young kid, and those guys took me under their wings. I had a family member that there was their high school coach at Whites Creek, Cornelius Ridley, legendary high school coach at Whites Creek High School. So from 10, 11 years old, 12 years old, if I got to hang out with Coach Ridley, I'm around all those guys in the gym. So those guys just kind of took me under their wings, made sure, I was doing the right thing. So once, they saw that I was serious, and once my game got to a certain level, in the summertime, and when those guys were home, I was playing pickup with those guys. They had me in the weight room. Back then it wasn't much skill development like it is now, where
yeah.
guys are, doing individuals. We were more so playing pickup ball. So by maybe my junior year in high school, I'm in the gym with, Davis in the pros at the time, Corey's playing in Italy, Mercer's at Kentucky, Dante Jones, Mingos, all of these guys. So I'm getting to be around pros every day and seeing how they operate. And I'm like, wow, maybe if I do what I need to do, I can follow in their footsteps. So that kind of
It feels
shaped
good,
me up a
man.
lot.
It feels good when they let you play, let you in those runs, doesn't it? I
Oh, it
mean,
feels
they
good
don't
because,
let they just don't let anybody in those runs.
yeah, they don't let anybody. And I, just being a kid, I remember when I was just being able to sit on the side. And so, it got really good, like maybe like going into my 12th grade year, I was getting picked in the top 10. Like me and Ron Slay was like their young bucks, and like we don't have to call next no more. Like we're in the, you know what I'm saying? Like in that
Yeah,
first 10, we're on the court. And I'm like, I got a chance.
that's
Right.
what's up, man. That's beautiful.
Right.
So you said you had a plan. What was your plan? Was your plan like, look, I'm going to the pros. Look, I want to do this. Or I want to coach. I mean, were you thinking about those things? Because I know I wasn't. I was
Yes.
all in with basketball, 100%.
Yes. So at that point, I mean, I hate to say it now because I am a coach, but academics was not
That's a
in the
very common
forefront.
answer. It's a very common
Yeah.
answer.
Like, being around those guys, just the access that I had, I was like, man, I'm gonna be a pro. Whether it's
Yeah.
the NBA or in Europe. I got guys like Corey Allen twice a week. He's calling me. He's in Greece. Not many people can say that. You know what I'm saying? Mercer. I'm
Yeah.
hanging out with him, so I got everyday access to pros. So that like I wanted to be a pro. So
Yeah.
I didn't focus on academics. I was in the gym working on my craft, and I knew that I had a good opportunity, to play the game and earn a living doing it.
Sure. So you get to your senior year of college, and did you decide to go into the draft? Like, what was that process like at that time?
Yeah, so my senior year, Nolan Richardson III, he's the son of the legendary Arkansas coach. He was my college coach at Tennessee State. We had a really good junior year. We beat Murray State. Back then, the Ohio Valley Conference was very competitive.
Yeah.
Trent Hassel played in the pros. He's at Austin Peay. Henry Dormercant is at Eastern Illinois. Kyle Hill was at Eastern Illinois. So the league was very competitive. And after my senior year, during my senior year, coach kind of got in an incident on campus with one of the other coaches and kind of, got suspended and ended up getting fired. So it was kind of a tough senior year. I entered the draft. Obviously, being a senior, didn't get drafted. Had some workouts with teams and things like that, and end up going to Israel to start my professional career, and played there for 3 seasons over in Israel, and then bounced around overseas from there, but didn't get drafted, obviously, but still, had a pretty good career over the pond.
Personal career, yeah. How did it make you feel that you didn't get drafted? What was going through that night? Because it's like football. You got time.
Like 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because my boy Ron Slay, I didn't have a draft party or anything like that, but I never will forget, he had a draft party at Andrew Jackson Boys and Girls Club, which is Andrew Jackson's inner city housing projects in Nashville. We was over there for the draft party, and he's just sweating bullets. Obviously he's at UT, he's SEC Player of the Year. So we probably thought he was going to get at least second round. We thought his name was going to get called, but the whole time, I kind of thought in the back of my mind, man, Corey Allen had one of his former coaches was a Utah Jazz scout at the time. And so I had several workouts with the Jazz, and the guy name was Paco, and he really liked me a lot. And I thought, man, maybe, just sometimes the pieces just got to fall right, just got to be the right situation. And, we all there for Slay, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm looking and things like that. I'm like, maybe I get a chance. It didn't work out, but I was okay with that.
How did you feel the next morning, though?
Man, crazy thing about it. Me and one of my good friends, we drove to Chicago, and I didn't get invited to the pre-draft camp in Chicago, but I went to a overseas camp in Chicago. And, being just a mid-major guy, coming from Tennessee State, a couple of the guys that was in the camp had, more name recognized than I did. And I mean, I got to that camp, and I never will forget, me and my boy Kendall Hoskins, we drove from Nashville to Chicago, and we actually, man, got tired, and we stopped at a rest stop. I don't know where we were at, and he probably think, man, I don't know how you gonna get up there and play. And when
Get ready for an action-packed season of the University of Memphis women's basketball. Experience the thrill, the passion, and the power of women's basketball right here in Memphis. Be part of the excitement. Join us in the stands and cheer on our Memphis Tigers. Don't miss out. Get your season tickets today at GoTigersGo.com.
And when I tell you, I signed my contract to go to Israel during that camp. I had a not to toot my own horn.
You toot it. No, go ahead.
Just that Memphis, like we talked about, that Memphis background, just that edge. I was like, man, I'm going up there, and every guy that's supposed to be better than me, I'm going at his neck.
Yeah, I
I'm
feel you.
going at his neck.
You
And
hungry? You hungry?
I was hungry. I had to get
Yeah.
it, and wasn't nobody gonna stand in my way.
But you succeeded. You got a contract. What was that? So you go from Tennessee to Israel. And I'm guessing you guys where were you at in Israel? What city?
And so I was in Haifa. My first year, I was in Haifa, and my
Was the
whole
culture
family
shock?
is very crazy because the same thing that's going on today between the
Yes.
Palestinians and Israel, the same kind of conflict had just kind of quieted down. So when I told my family I was going to Israel, like, when you hear overseas back at the time, I didn't know anything. Like Corey
Yeah.
was in Greece and played in Italy and Argentina.
Yeah.
You never really hear Israel, but Israel actually has is probably the third or fourth league over in Europe. And
Wow.
I guess because of their conflict with the Middle East, in basketball, they kind of Israel basketball is still considered Europe. And my family thought I was crazy, man. But I got to Israel, and I mean, I absolutely loved it. Spent 3 seasons there, and had a really good time. I actually talked to one of my old teammates yesterday on WhatsApp. Just kind of
Yeah. Trying to see
connecting with
what's
him
going
and
on.
making sure he and his family are safe. I still have friends there.
You
But
know,
I going from Nashville to Israel,
yeah,
my
that's
family
a
thought I
big
was,
jump.
yeah,
That is huge.
family thought I was crazy. But when I got off that plane, I was like, I'm thinking I'm gonna see people on camels, and
Yeah.
it was nothing like that.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
shocking, and we get that perception, but in the bigger cities, it's not like that at all. Michael, what were you going to say?
No, it's cool. I was just saying my experience, and I went to Lebanon. The one
So
when
I
we
played in Lebanon too.
yeah, when I went, the first thing they checked to see that I had stamps from Israel. And if you
Yeah,
had a
so that's
stamp in your passport, I don't know how you were doing, they weren't gonna let you in. And
so that's
luckily,
crazy. Like, so we're going to the Bahamas in November, and I'm still waiting on my passport. But I've had like 3 or 4 passports because after Israel, I played in Croatia, and then I played in some other Middle Eastern countries. Matter of fact, Lebanon was the first country that I visited, and I
yeah,
had to get a new passport
because
because
of that
if you
stamp.
had an Israeli stamp, you could not get in that country.
Yes. See there, you learned something new, Sandy. There you go. Boom. Yeah, I remember that. So
Need to have multiple passports is what I need to have.
yes, exactly. So man, you played over there in Europe. You know what we talk about here in the fifth quarter, our podcast is your second life, or there's only 4 quarters in basketball, and kind of like what were you doing when you were playing over there? What were did you think like I'm gonna do this forever? Or I don't know. Did you start thinking about like I can't do this forever? What I'm gonna do? Or when did your fifth quarter happen and how did it start? Like I can't do usually sometimes it's an injury, just certain things. How did your fifth quarter start?
Man, so I had my daughter my senior year in college, and she was getting a little older.
She just started at North Carolina, didn't she?
North Carolina A&T. Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
sophomore. Yeah, she's a sophomore at North Carolina A&T. So she was getting a little older, and I mean, young, making good money at the time. And when I left Tennessee State, I kind of changed my major, so I still had a year to go academically.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's kind of always, the academic person, and
Shout out to the mom.
yeah, you need to finish your degree, da 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 da. And so I never will forget. I came back one summer, and I was like, man, I'm gonna surprise my mom, and I'm gonna try to start finishing this degree. And I took a couple classes, took 2 summer courses, and talked to the men's coach at the time, and he was like, when you're ready, you can come on back and be a GA, and you don't have your degree, but you'll be a graduate assistant and work towards your undergraduate degree. And so my last year playing, I was always there in the summertime working out with the guys, and I said, man, I'm gonna get this one more go. Is that offer still on the table? And so never thought about really coaching. I just wanted to, finish my degree. And once I got there, the team at Tennessee State was really good. Robert Covington, who's now with the Clippers, he was on that team. beat Murray State. They were ranked number 7 in the country at the time, was undefeated. And so I just kind of saw how things went from, being a player to the coaching side of it, breaking down tape and
Right.
just doing different things, and never thought I would be coaching
Even then,
women's basketball. And just, things happened there at Tennessee State on the women's staff where they lost some people. And, the AD at the time came to me and asked me, I see what you're doing. I think be a pretty good coach. You want to go help the girls? And I was like, no, I'm gonna go to the men's Final Four and try to get a job, in the men's program somewhere. And I went to the Final Four, nothing happened. And came to me again, said, you sure you don't want to? And I said, okay, I'll try for 1 year. And I'm starting my 13th season. So it just kind of happened just like that.
I always said to myself, man, I was coaching. I wasn't coaching on the college level, but I was coaching girls and boys, youth girls and boys. And I found I got more gratification out of coaching girls because they play together more as a team and not try to do things individually. As a coach, I'll just put this for an example. Just say you breaking a press. With guys, they're like, all right, we got this fast point guard, we're gonna break this press. But these girls it's almost so evenly matched. You know what I mean? They really have to follow this game plan in order to win.
Oh yeah, that's most definitely like girl, like if you want to like really coach, see your X's and O's, your schemes. I always say like coaching girls, you really have to coach and know what you're talking about. Like guys, if you got one or two good guys, like you said, a good point guard,
yeah,
you don't need you don't need much. And every guy from 1 through 15, they all think they're going pro.
Yes, we've heard that before, have we, Sandy?
Yeah, 1 through 15, a guy averaging 2 minutes a night, he think he got a chance.
That's right. He's the next Steph Curry. Exactly.
He ain't gonna listen to you.
It's so funny when I was coaching, I can even in warm-ups, I know I can even look down at warm-ups and look at the other team and see how they're warming up and look at their skill set. Even in warm-ups, I'm sure you do the same thing. Like, oh yeah, we got them tonight, or like, oh, we got our hands full tonight, or you just kind of see in warm-ups. But with guys, you can't. But with the girls, you can, because the skill, you really have to concentrate on that skill level, man. So.
Oh yeah, like and that's one thing I like, especially working with Coach Simmons. Skill development is what she hangs her hat on, and so you have to hone in on those skills and get better each and every day. Where, like you said, in guys, everybody's gonna be out there jumping over the ring. Everybody's looking good in warm-ups. But like, yeah, you can look in warm-ups in a girls' game and be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a long night for them tonight. Like, we got them.
Exactly, exactly. So yes, that's like I said, I got more enjoyment out of coaching girls. Not say I would not coach boys, but if I had a preference, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would coach
I'm with you, Mike. Like, my preference now, like people, just friends in the business. Man, you wanna? Nah, I'm good, man. I'm staying over here where I am, man. I ain't coming to deal with them jokers.
So
yeah.
I do want to ask though. So when Coach Simmons said, I'm going to Memphis, do you want to come with me? Did you even hesitate?
This is no lie. I think I beat her to Memphis.
That's what I heard. I heard that story.
Like,
they were like, I'm already in the car going.
And I packed up. They laugh at me. Like, I packed up my car. I knew I wasn't going back to that place. Like, I think I actually beat her here.
I know. So we were talking, last episode was Nadiria, and she talked about being the first director of basketball operations, not being able to play anymore, being in an office, and being in this really small town where Gardner-Webb is, and just how hard that was. Was it hard being in that small town?
I guess maybe for some of them, maybe it was. But I've been all over the world, so the way I look at things is a little different. I've been in some tough places, across that pond. So if I got internet and a cell phone, I can make it. So it wasn't wasn't
But you
too
said
rough.
you were the first one to pack up though and get out of there.
Oh yeah, because I was coming back home.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I was just talking before we got on the podcast, man. I was talking to one of my former teammates, and we're having him on the show soon. We were talking about different things that we didn't learn, even when I was playing with the Trotters, or we didn't learn in college. It seems like your story was different because you took advantage of networking and things like that. How does that play in the part? Do you guys explain to your players how important it is to build those relationships? Because him and myself, I can't wait to do this show. We'll talk about how I knew someone 10 years ago, just because my relationship I had with them at the time, I could give them a call right now. You know what I mean? Do you talk to your players about building that relationship? Because it seemed like it helped you in your fifth quarter, in your transition from playing to coaching.
Yeah, I you know, much as possible, we try to talk to them about, you know, different aspects. I'm not really much of a talker by nature. I kind of sit back and do more observation than anything. But one thing that I think I do well is I never meet a stranger. And so just being able to network and meet people and talk to people, I think it's definitely helped me um, throughout my journey. And I hope that it will continue to help me, you know, throughout life and throughout my coaching career. But that is something that kind of helped me a whole lot to get into some of the places that I've been.
Right.
How important was your relationship? How important was that relationship? I mean, going back to Tennessee State. I mean, to be able to go back to Tennessee State, to be welcome with open arms. I know you always hold that forever in your heart.
Yeah, like Tennessee State, you know, was a special place. So kind of, I haven't been back as much as I would like to now, just because, you know, coaching, and most of the times they have, like homecoming is this weekend, for example, but we have an official visit coming to campus. So it just, um, business wise, I can't make it, but I try to, you know, stay connected to my teammates, you know, the guys that I went to battle with. You know, we all, you know, talk as much as we can. I'm a member of the Alumni Association, you know, so I try to, you know, give and stay connected as much as I can. But, you know, that place helped me out a lot. So I try to stay connected, you know, as much as I can. I try, because I'm a coach, I kind of try to stay clear of the, you know, the coaching aspect of, you know, alumni are never happy with the coach.
Yeah.
You know, and so I understand.
Really? I've never heard that before. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you know, they always think that the coach should do this or do that. And I think now we have, you know, in the three main sports, football, you know, Eddie George, Brian Collins, the men's coach, who was a young buck under me, you know, kind of showed him the ropes and things like that. So he's doing a good job. And then the women's program, you know, but I hear certain things, and you know, just being in the business, I try to stay clear of those kind of conversations, because you know, it's hard coaching at any level.
Sure.
And I think all three of those coaches are doing a tremendous job. But, you know, I try to give my support, you know, financially, and whatever I can do to help any of those programs, you know, I try to do it.
What do you think? You know, you're here at Memphis now, and does your mom live here? No, she lives in Nashville, correct?
She's in Nashville, yeah.
What do you think or how do you see your value for the Memphis team? Like, what do you see is your biggest value to them?
I guess just my basketball experience. You know, just think I have a pretty high IQ. You know, I know the lay of the land, so to speak, as far as Memphis and, you know, just the state. But just being, you know, a good role model to the young ladies, and putting them in the best positions to win. I think my experience, I'm the oldest person on the staff. So just that experience factor, you know, I think also I'm probably more always here. You know, I try
Right.
not to get
That
too
means
high
you're
or too.
fair. Yeah, that means you're fair. Yeah,
Yeah, I
consistent.
try not to get too high, too low. I remember last year, it's crazy. I got to tell y'all this. We were playing, we go undefeated in the conference. I think we are 18-0, how many ever games. And so the first round of the conference tournament, we played Asheville, and we beat them pretty favorably. And so the semifinals, we're playing Radford. And so I had to scout for the semifinal and the championship. And we beat Radford. And I mean, every shot they threw up, it was in. I mean, we played good defense. 1 second on the shot clock, they throw up a 30-footer. It goes off the glass
One of
straight
those
in.
nights. One of those
Yeah,
nights.
it's just one of those nights. And I remember late in the fourth quarter, well, I mean, it was still, and everybody. And I'm sitting next to Nadiri. I'm like, yo, relax, man. It's okay. We're gonna be fine. And everybody else is just up and high. And so I kind of like, I try not to say too much, but I knew, we were gonna win. And I will say, I did get a little nervous once he got to about 3 minutes. I was a little nervous, but I just wouldn't let my emotions show that. So I think that's probably, just kind of being the cool, level head guy out of the bunch.
That's what's up. Because that's one of my biggest things. How do you add value? And Sandy actually came up with that, and we kind of stuck to that. And it's very important. I don't know if you tell your players that, but make sure you do tell them, man, what are you adding to this team? Are you along for just a ride?
Right.
Or how are you making this team better? I just got off the phone, like I said, with my teammates, and that was important to me. And I surrounded myself with people that wanted to add value. So adding value, like, how am I making this better? Or I'm just making it the same. So Sandy, like I said, that's my favorite question. That's always my favorite question of how you adding value. And that's very important to me, man. So I like the way you said that. That was a great answer. So.
Okay, I'm sorry, the internet, we're having technical difficulties. Can you repeat just to make sure we got it on the recording what you said, what you happened after you told Nadiria we got this?
Oh yeah, so we're going back and forth with Radford, and I mean they're hitting everything. Like I mean they're hitting everything, and the clock is ticking. Fourth quarter, and we may have been down 10, 11 points, and everybody's just like, it's nerves, and I'm like, yo, I tapped on it. I'm like, yo, we're good. Relax, we got this. And we had a really good player, Jessica Williams, and she was able to, I call it Superman cape. She put that Superman cape and did what she had to do, but just kind of being that calm, cool person, make sure that hey, we don't need to get too high, too low, and that we were able to handle business, and the rest is history.
Oh wow. Hey Josh, I always like to answer this question, man. Out of all your experience, you seem like you've been through a lot. You traveled the world, you've seen a lot, you made some decisions. I'm sure you made some mistakes along the way and jumped back in, but you seem like you had a really good foundation. If you can go back to your younger self, to your 7th grade self, when you started really getting good at basketball, you walked in the gym and saw Josh in there, what would you go up and sit down? What would you tell Josh?
Never make decisions based on money.
Oh,
that's one of the things that I would say to my younger self. Never make decisions based on money. And I know that's kind of different for different people, but I being in situations where I've looked at the financial gain of say a job in Europe, or a coaching job, and maybe the fit just wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So I would, going back over some things, I would I would say that don't always look at the money aspect of things. I think in whatever profession a person decides to go to, if they're doing the right things and grounded and humble, money will come, or just a good, pleasant life will come. You don't have to get out and chase the money.
No, absolutely. Mike, you got anything else?
I'm good. I mean, that was my question. You know, that's always my question. I like to get. And Josh, she didn't even make you cry, man. Look at.
I did not make you cry.
She didn't make you cry. Hey, Josh, you still who?
Yeah, man. I still get out. I had knee surgery 2 years ago, and it wasn't my ACL, but it was like a patella fracture.
Yeah.
So I set out for like a year, and I'm back now. Coach Alex, her husband, Christian, I know Alex is like 36 or 37. So Christian is about the same age. So we played in a church league at the big church right here on Poplar by campus. We played in a summer league over
Second
there.
Presbyterian.
Yeah, we played over there, and then we'll get out with some guys. We'll try to get some guys over in the field house about 3 or 4 days a week. So I jump in practice. I'm out there in the workout.
I've seen that. I have seen that. It must be nice for him though to have like another guy on the staff, because he's not from Memphis. So it must be kind of nice for him to kind of have, some type of familiarity with the city.
Oh yeah, and he's a good AAU coach. He works with the Tennessee Flight. He's part of that organization. So he's my right hand man. We always talking players, and he's telling me, man, you need to go look at this kid. And so we have a really good relationship.
Well, good. Well, Josh, thank you so much. As we come to the end of this episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast, we want to remind everyone to give us a follow on Apple, Spotify, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And of course, we would love a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps people find our podcast, and we love hearing the feedback from everyone. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for our show, you can contact us through our website, 5thquarterpodcast.com. And for all you Memphis Tiger fans out there, join me in supporting the Memphis women's basketball team by purchasing your season tickets today at gotigersgo.com. First home game is Thursday, November 9th versus Alabama State at the Elmo Rome Fieldhouse on the main campus of the University of Memphis. And Josh, are you saying we're going to win that first game? Yes?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I like that. I like that confidence, man. I like that. I like that even kill. You need somebody on your squad like that.
Hey, Mike, can you still dunk?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm getting in shape, man. I have a game. In 2 weeks. I was just telling Sandy, but I'm playing in this congressional basketball game. So it's a bunch of senators and and a bunch of congressmen playing. So I got to get in shape, but I'm not doing this like I'm. Don't get it twisted. Because when you're that age, as you get older,
Sandy, there wasn't anybody that could jump like he. I never met him personally, but I've been in a lot of games, and if it's got something to do with Tennessee, I know all the players. And he might be the highest jumper ever.
Yeah, it was a guy right outside of Knoxville. Man, he played for Chattanooga Brainerd. His name was Tashambi High.
Tashambi, yeah, he couldn't jump like you though.
Yeah, but man, he could jump, man. But it was some good times. But we were all family, man. And the thing about Memphis basketball, you either were from Memphis or you were from Nashville, one or the other.
Right.
That was the whole squad. We didn't go anywhere else. We didn't go outside of Tennessee. We had everything we need right there, man. So, hey, Josh, man, I appreciate you being on the show, man. If you ever need me for anything, man, if you ever doing camp or anything, man, I'm in town. Just let me know.
Okay, where you at now? DC somewhere?
I'm in DC, man.
Okay.
You guys not getting up here this year, are you?
No, I don't think I know we come to New York. We got to make a return trip to Columbia.
Okay, that's what's up, man. So, but like I said, let's keep in touch, man. I have your contact information, man. Sandy, I don't know if he has mine. I'll send you mine.
Shoot me a text. I'll lock you in.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So
I love making connections between people. Okay, so thank you all for joining us on the Fifth Quarter Podcast with our guest, Josh Cooperwood. Can catch him, the whole staff, and our Lady Tigers in just a few weeks. Until next time, remember, change is our ally and it paves the way for greatness. Stay inspired. Have a great rest of the week.